Hey guys, so I'm back and I'm going to be doing a video that was highly requested from some of you. I have gotten some emails, Instagram posts, and YouTube posts on tips to go full-time with jewelry or full-time with any art or hobby. So a lot of this is going to vary person to person, but this is just kind of tips that have helped me, or tips that if I'm reflecting back on would have helped me going forward. Some of these things I didn't even do that I kind of wish I did do, or wish I did sooner than I did. Everything that I say, take it with a grain of salt. I don't have the holy Bible of business. I am not a business major, but I am in business, and this is just kind of some stuff that had helped me. Like I said, they're really just more or less tips. So we're going to get right into the video. It's going to be long, so excuse my messy appearance. We keep it real in my studio vlogs and when I work. So number one is finances. I'm not going to touch much on this because, you know, it's really going to vary person to person, but when you are thinking about making a jump or making a jump in the future to make your business full-time, obviously you are going to have your own personal needs as far as what you have to pay out for bills and what is coming in and what you like to spend for leisure activities and things like that. You know, you need to figure out what you're comfortable with as far as is what a cushion, like what kind of savings that you're going to have, how much money do you want saved, how much money do you want to be bringing in per week, per month, whatever have you, and what kind of cushion for your kind of extra activities that you're doing, what do you need to make? So that's something that you're going to just have to figure out on your own, and that's really what's going to determine, obviously, when you can leave your day job, because, you know, you could want to leave your day job all you want, but if it's not going to support you, your business, then A, there's no point in really pursuing it at a certain point, and B, if it takes a little bit longer, and you have that time and you don't mind grinding, then that's fine. But there needs to be a really clear-cut plan. And I think if you follow some of the other steps that I'm going to give you, it'll definitely help you achieve financial goals as far as what you want your business to be making. So this way you don't have to rely on another job to bring in all your income or bring in secondary income or what have you. So the most important thing is having a clear brand vision, and this is not something that I really did until I was transitioning already towards full-time. Now, what do I mean by that? Figure out who you are, what your brand is, who your demographic is. And this is really important because you need to know who you're catering to. You need to know what your price points are, who your customer is, what their interests are, what they like to read about, where they live, what kind of money they make, what age gap they are, because all of these things are going to allow you to continue to grow your business by catering to that market. Now, having a clear brand vision, what do I mean by that? You know what you're offering to your customer, your target customer. So there's a lot of different ways you can gather data as far as, figuring out who your target customer is. And that's something that you can you'll know, obviously, if you make really bohemian pieces, you're probably going to cater to the 20-somethings. And there's also a price range that they're willing to pay. There's also that bohemian vibe jewelry that you can cater to a higher end clientele. So you have to find out what it is that you're selling and who's buying it and what kind of money they're going to be spending on your pieces. I really always recommend people to kind of go for a more high-end price point, obviously with hoping your jewelry or your art matches that. You don't want to offer shitty quality jewelry at a really overpriced price point. But you also have to know your value within the art community, that you shouldn't undercharge. That's not going to help you get to your goals. Know the background, what their interests are, and the type of product that you're going to be selling is super important to know, because you're going to have hits and misses, but for the most part, if you're making things that people are buying, like for me, my shop, I consistently sell more simplistic style, elegant, clean, crisp line jewelry. That's what sells the best for me. So when I start to stray out of that, which I do because artistically it's fun, but it doesn't always jive well within my line. So you'll be able to tell as you're starting to grow your business what really is selling and what your market is. So it's all real trial and error. But if you have a clear brand vision and a plan for your business and you stick to it, you'll find a lot of success within that. Obviously, I think you do have to do what you're doing well. You can't just be like, I'm going to make snowman jewelry and hopefully it sells. No, if you want to make Christmas themed jewelry, you better have, a clear idea of why you're making it, who's it for, where you're going to be selling it to, and all these kinds of things. So this is kind of like a mini business plan, if you could put it that way. Now, so knowing your brand vision, also having your logo made up, you want to talk to a graphic designer because you need to have something that makes somebody feel like they're buying from a company, they're buying from a person, they're buying from somebody that has a story. I think that's very important, especially in the art world, because it identifies who you are and who your brand is. So that is definitely something important. So start, talking to a graphic designer, or if you know somebody that does the work, and don't just settle on a logo. Try to really find something that speaks with your brand identity. And I think that's something that's going to really, really help you shape going forward and moving towards a goal of making your passion a full-time thing, because you'll be very clearly identified within your community, which will allow you to grow quicker. So avenues of income. Now, what will really speed up the process, obviously, of you quitting your day job would be finding out different ways you can generate income besides Etsy. You can't rely on one avenue. I love Etsy. I'm very loyal to the website because it's a great avenue that brings a lot of internal traffic if you use the tools right to succeed in business. But you can't just rely on Etsy. Now, I would recommend, once you kind of figure out who you are and what you're going to be selling, is get a website. Lock in your URL once you figured out, your brand name, or if you already have that. Have your own personal website. One, it looks professional. And two, if you ever did want to switch off of Etsy, you already have something already built for you. And of course, you can tweak both of them as you go. But eventually, if you didn't want to use Etsy, at least you have a backup website that you can use. I would recommend starting an Etsy store as well, because it is a wonderful tool, and I'll go more into that maybe in a separate video, just a little bit more about Etsy and my experience. But online is a huge opportunity, and you can cater to the entire world. So if you find your demographic and your brand vision, you can really cater to all over the world and find your demographic in each country and state and what have you. So there's a lot of different tools that you can do for selling online. I use GoDaddy.com for my domain. You can use so many others. So next I'm going to talk about my e-commerce site. I just forgot to introduce it because I had to edit it out. So I use Supadupa, but I had gotten like a special deal when I signed up, so that's why I use them still. But there are so many sites that you can use. I think it's like what they have. Squarespace is a big one. I know that a lot of people use. Now, art fairs are a really great way, especially if you work during the week, to go out on the weekends and really get local business. Local business is still really important. You can make a brand within your community, and you can really identify with people face to face. Nothing sells jewelry better than art fairs. Particularly, I don't love them. Not because I don't like seeing people, but it's very stressful and it's a lot of work on top of what I'm doing now. But art fairs can bring you in a lot of money in a short period of time. So it can be stressful, but it's totally worth it. And that's a great way to kind of gain a savings. So this way you can kind of have a cushion for when you do leave your job, that you have a security blanket. And these are just ways to generate income, and they're great ways. They're good things to do even when you do leave your job. Art fairs are so great, but there are a lot of flops out there. You need to do your research and talk to other artists, or read reviews online, or go to art fairs before you start signing up for them, because a lot of them suck and a lot of them are flops, and you will waste a lot of time and money going to them. So just because they're more expensive doesn't mean they're better. Just be wise with the choices that you make as far as where you decide to go. Another way you can do is boutiques or galleries or museums, whichever ones that you want to target, depending on your product. Now, you can place your products on consignment. You can do wholesale deals, depending on what you're comfortable with and what the boutiques or the stores are comfortable with. You can do consignment or wholesale. Again, these are just other channels that you can get to build your brand identity and get your name out there and create more business and income. There are pros and cons to consignment and wholesale. And the fourth one is home parties. Home parties for certain art are going to work, not everything, but jewelry in particular, it works very well for. You can set up, and a lot of friends will host a jewelry party, and you can sell a lot of stuff. You can take, what's good for me is I do a lot of made to order, and if you do made to order products, you can bring one sample and have people fill it out, and you can make the orders and ship them right to their door. So home parties are a great way. I don't do them really often, but if somebody asks me, I'm open to the idea because it's a lot more casual of an environment. It's usually in somebody's house. You usually know them, or you know somebody that down the line that knows them. So these are all different ways that you can kind of generate income online and other places. Now, having a plan, and I would say this is probably a really important part. You need to have a plan of where you want to be, things you want to do, different kind of avenues you want to explore, whether it be, doing consignment, doing wholesales, doing gift shows, and you want to have some type of long-term plan and a short-term plan, things that you desire as far as, finance growth as well as, personal growth within your company and what's going to happen to your products, and maybe even education that you want to pursue to better your craft or your art, whatever you want to call it. And also, you're always going to be tweaking this. This is always something that's going to change, and that's totally fine. But having an idea is very, very important. Set yourself a schedule. This is something that's going to really help you, because if you are a blah person, and I kind of am like this, where you don't really like to have schedules, have a set schedule now if you're working, especially because when you start to have all the time in the world to do, to do your business, you don't want to treat it as a casual thing. You want to have a set schedule. So if you have to start maybe 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, those are the days you're going to work. Set those days and make sure that from 4 to 6 or from 4 to 8 or from 4 to 9, you're doing your side business. So this way it can continuously grow. Then you can start to see things really, kind of snowball into, a busier and busier shop, or a busier and busier, overall brand. And I think like the easiest transition for me from full-time to employment was really that I had some type of schedule already, because once you have all the time, it's so relieving, because you can work Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday or whatever works for your schedule when you're in full-time. But when you're part-time, set it up now, because if you don't have a regimented schedule, you'll never reach your goal. You can't just work 1 day a week and then the next week work 3 days and then not work any days. Set yourself a schedule and stick to it. Those are things that are really going to help you moving forward, and you need to be motivated, and you have to self-motivate at all times when you're doing something like this. I'm sure most of you know that already though. And I would just say bump up your time as you go. The more time you invest into this, the more it's going to give back. So, the more you invest in time, and you might give up a little bit here or there, but you will end up seeing the results that you really want to income-wise. The next thing I'm going to talk about is patience. You need to have a lot of patience, because there's a lot of times I had felt that you just want to quit your job prematurely, or you just don't want to go through with your business. I never felt like I didn't want to do my business. That's not something that I had felt. I think you have moments of, is this worth it, or am I doing the right thing? But I think if you love it and you're pursuing it hard enough, you want that. So keep a positive mindset, but also be realistic and be patient, because things don't happen overnight. And unless you have, funding, and you, happen to have maybe investors, there's different things that might speed up process as far as jumping into a business and just going with it. But for your most average, everyday people that we have to work and we have other jobs, I would say just be patient. Some of my friends that do this, success happened very quickly for them, but it still took a little while. They were doing it for at least a year or two prior to really becoming successful at it. And then other people take a lot longer, and it's something that's kind of more drawn out process. Maybe they weren't planning on making their business full time, or they were. It just organically grew slower. But you want to try to create something that doesn't just organically grow, but you can market yourself with your business plan and your brand identity so that you can grow quicker, so you can reach your end goal faster. Being active on social media. You have to be active at all times. If you give up being active on social media, you're dead online, and that is definitely the truth. It's free advertisement. I'm not saying your business is all going to come from that, but certainly a lot will. Find what you like, whether it's Twitter, Facebook fan pages, Instagram, YouTube. Find out the channel that you like the best and pursue them. You don't need to pursue all of them. You don't have to be on Pinterest, Twitter, Tumblr, but pick a few that you like and stick to it, and make sure you're consistently uploading. You're not overwhelming people with photos 5-6 times a day. I think if you just kind of consistently do it without being a bothersome, you'll get a better following quicker. And these are things that will definitely bump up your revenue and bump up your name. So this way you can grow into a full-time position with what you're doing. Another thing I want to talk about is support. Having some type of support system, whether it's friends, a business mentor, a teacher, whatever have you. Find those people. If you don't have the support from your family or your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whoever, find it outside of them. You need to believe in you. You don't need everybody to believe in you. I had a lot of people that never thought I was going to do this full time. They didn't know what I was going to do because I was kind of like, I'm going to do jewelry. And they're like, oh, okay. They don't really believe you. Don't worry about them. You find your support system and you stick with that. But that will definitely help you. I have some really good friends that have just supported me so much, done art fairs with me, tagging my business items, just things that, people that will motivate you to keep going. You need motivation within you, but you also sometimes need that extra bump that will really, really help you along the way. At least I think so, because sometimes you kind of feel like, I can't do this, or should I do this? And it's great to have those people in your life. So long as you have realistic, goals, and you're not just looking to be self-employed and do nothing. But I don't think most of you that are watching this video probably have that mind frame anyways. So find a good support system. Another thing I just kind of touched on before is seeking a mentor. Well, I mentioned a mentor. Find a mentor within your within the realm of whatever art you're selling, whether you paint or you do pottery. Find somebody who does it even better and who's been doing it a long time. They will be able to give you the best advice you can't really buy. And usually if you find a great mentor that you just jive with, make sure you have like that bond, like a friendship, because they're really going to help shape you into a better craftsman, whatever you do. And I found that having a mentor was something that was really motivating, because they really inspire you. Usually there's somebody that's been in the business for 20 plus years, and it's just all around creatively, I think, and also on the business side, it's just a great perspective, and it's something that you can run business ideas by, or pricing and things like that. So seek out a mentor that's in your area. I really, really highly recommend doing that. So this is just kind of my tips. I hope that all of these kind of helped. I didn't want to make this video too long, but I think I kind of touched on everything that made it easier for me, and things that I kind of wish I did better, and also things that I think that you guys can do and try to just remember and stick to, and always constantly revisit these ideas, because they'll definitely help you transition into going full time. Now, if you want me to do a separate video on just kind of my work history and how I ended up where I ended up, I will do that. But remember also, life is not all about working, and have fun and take time off, because if you're burnt out and you constantly work, you're never going to perform at your best. I think that that's the most important thing. Make sure that there's time for fun, laughing, and loving and all that stuff, and the rest will kind of flow with it. But if you guys have any questions, I hope this video helped somebody. It's not too formal, but I just kind of wanted to run through the list, and I will be back with another video soon. Okay, bye.